Grey Zone Warfare is not the easiest game to get into because of all the different systems and different items. However, I am here to help you today to give you my top 5 things I wish I knew before I jumped into Grey Zone Warfare. First of all, it comes down to factions. There are 3 factions that you can pick from when you are starting the game and creating your character. Now, for most of you, this choice really doesn't matter. You can pick whatever the hell you want, whichever sounds coolest, there's no issue with that whatsoever. You're going to start off in a starter town with the same NPCs that give you quests as everyone else regardless of faction anyway. Obviously, it will matter later on when you're playing PvEvP, if you're playing that game mode, because you can come across other people in the PvP areas later on down the line. Now, if you're planning on playing with friends, however, you need to make sure that you and your friends have all picked the same faction. If you're in separate factions, you won't be able to squad up and play with each other. So, if you're playing with a group of people, make sure you're all the same faction because this is very important, and you definitely want to know this before you've started playing. Now, if you have messed up and already picked a faction that is separate to your friends, they have added the ability to wipe your character and repick your faction and remake your character. You're only going to lose your progress, you'll gain any items back from whichever edition you bought, so don't worry about that. Next is when you're playing with friends and a squad, you might not actually die by being killed or shot at. You sometimes enter a coma which you can be revived from. To make sure you can revive your allies, all you have to do is make sure you have the following items. First, you're going to need a tourniquet to make sure you can stop the bleeding on your friends. Then you're going to need a blood bag to replenish the blood that they've lost while in the coma. And then they usually wake up at this point. You'll also probably need a surgical kit to help them with any wounds to their organs to get them back into top shape. Now, I made the mistake of not knowing how to do this because my friend Hermé was there in a coma, and all I managed to do was give him a tourniquet to stop the bleeding, but I couldn't fix any of the other issues, so he ended up dying on me. Now, this is because all of these 3 items have to either be in your pockets or in your rig. If they're in your backpack or in your safe slot, then it will not work. It needs to be in either your rig or your pockets to get this to work correctly. For the third tip, you have 2 options of game modes in this game. You have the PvEvP mode, which is player versus environment, and player versus player. This is going to be the coolest one to play in when you get to the later zones. I would recommend you play the PvE mode only until you get out of the first starting town. Now, the reason why I say this is because everyone else is also starting at the same time as you, and a lot of people don't know that your starting town is mainly visited by those people in your faction, and unfortunately you can kill other faction mates and squad mates, so most people will just accidentally gun you down. And currently in the game, at the time of me making this video, there are no repercussions for killing another faction mate and taking all of their loot. You do eventually get kicked if you kill too many faction mates, but it's still an opportunity for someone else to kill you and take all of your stuff before you get out into those other wider PvP zones where you're going to come across factions. Once people start getting more used to the game and understanding how the faction system works, it will be a lot safer to go into the starting zone, but until then, make sure you're playing the PvE mode to keep your loot safe. Another tip I have for you is when you're going through the game and doing all of your quests, you're going to come across a lot of NPC enemies. When you kill them, make sure you take the time to loot them as well because you can find keys which are essential to some of the later quests. You're going to need a key for the doctor's room and an attic key as well for a quest for the restaurant, so looting and collecting as much loot as possible is a great way to find these keys early on. It's also a great way to make money because you can pick up different weapons and ammo. It's great to pick up a backup weapon from the enemies too in case you run out of ammo for your main weapon. Bringing lots of ammo is very key unless you're picking up more guns and ammo from the enemies as well. But it's also a great way to find food and drink because while you're doing multiple quests on one run, you will tend to lose energy and also start to get dehydrated. So picking up food and drinks, ammo and weapons, and those keys very early on as you start is a great way to make progress in the game. Then for the last tip, this one's kind of cheeky, and I'm going to say use our channel to help you with any quests that you need guiding on. A lot of quests don't give you the exact coordinates of the location where you need to go, just general ideas, so these can be quite difficult to find. We're busy covering every quest that we can that you're going to need help with. You can also use a great tool like Map Genie. I recommend Map Genie for any game out there at all that has some sort of a map and collectibles and just quests in general. Map Genie for this game already is top notch. So if you do have a Map Genie account, get on Map Genie. Even if you don't, go into Map Genie and try it out because it will help you so much with the quests. Well, that's it for top 5 things to know before you jump into Grey Zone Warfare. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click the like button below and also join us in Discord so we can squad up and get a community going that help each other throughout the quests. Until then, however, I will see you in the next one.